My new friend right now. Hang on a second. Let me. God, you know what? All the Apple products went to hell after Steve Jobs died. So coming up next, we have our headliner, Bernard Pierce.
Yeah.
Like I said, barely had more than a few sentences with him, but he strikes me as family.
He's a real deal.
Bernard Pierce is a Louisiana native born in the rural community of St. Martin Parish. He attended St. John's College in Santa Fe and returned to Louisiana to pursue a life immersed in art and music. He has owned and operated several music and arts venues in Lafayette, Louisiana. Bernard has also recorded and released 2 full-length recordings with his band One Man Machine and has toured internationally with this group. He has participated in a residency sponsored and organized by the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council in New York City. New York was up. Bernard has also read at the Allen Ginsberg Memorial. My mother has a very fond story of when Allen Ginsberg bummed a cigarette off of her at 11 Spoonful concert. And Bernard has recently published a collection of poems, photos, and visual art entitled The Deed to My Bones. Everybody, bring it on.
Thank you very much. You guys want to go to the bathroom or stretch out or anything? Feel free. I know.
I already went to the bathroom.
Butts get numb. Yeah, this book. It did a lot for me after it came out. My mom is an amazing human being, and she's been through a lot of stuff. She grew up, she was born in 1941, literally on the Bayou Teche, which is now, as we speak, overflowing its banks in Louisiana. Mom, she was the youngest of 12. 2 of her siblings died in childbirth. She almost died. It was winter. She was born January 1941, and she wasn't breathing. And my grandfather, Alfay, was a horse breeder. He bred horses for rich men and families in the area, and his 6 sons trained the horses and brought them to races. So he knew something about birthing horses and animal husbandry. And there was no midwife there. I don't know why there wasn't a midwife, but he took my mom, and it was icy, it's January, it's cold, and put her in a horse trough and revived her and woke her up because she wasn't breathing. And so there was an outhouse when I grew up. I was born in '74. We'd go to that property called Promised Land, a little subdivision on the Bayou Teche. I mean, beautiful property, oak trees, Spanish moss hanging, the Bayou Teche, rusty red flowing, fruit trees everywhere, pecans in the fall. It's just a great little place. And she grew up, and when I was there was still an outhouse there, like in the 80s. You could go and use the outhouse if you wanted to use it. You could use the indoor bathroom too. But she's been through a lot. And this book, I didn't dedicate it to her. I dedicated it to the men in my life. My brother, who's having a rough time. He's been having a rough time for a long time. And my sons, Miles and Parker Pierce, and my father. But this book is very much about my mother and her side of the family, and just it was just great growing up with this huge family and we'd have a family reunion, and everybody would get together, and it would be like 300 people, at this, oh my God, and we were Creoles, right? So that means we're all mixed up, and you know, you show up at the family reunion, I was like, Mom, who are all these white people? Oh, that's your cousin. Really? Like, or who are these, you know? And so, you know, my dad was from New York, and he was half and half. He was half Jewish, half black. My mom was all mixed up, you know. And then a lot of the lighter-skinned family, they moved away in the 40s and 50s because it's a thing called passé blanc, passing for white. Mm-hmm. And they went off to California and Baltimore and whatever. But the point is, it was a huge family, and over the last few years, my mom is the youngest, and her nickname was Queen. She lost my dad. My dad died in '82, tragically, quickly, of a heart attack, just real, boom, gone. So she lost him and raised the 3 kids on her own. And then one by one, her siblings, which they were all so close. I mean, I don't even fucking, can't even imagine how close these people were. Because you see them get together, and it's like they're kissing and hugging for 30 minutes. It's like this thing. And I see my sister, she's like, oh yeah, hey, whatever. I don't know if you're close to your people, but it's a shame to not be. I witnessed it, and I think we're losing that love. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have 2 kids, and I love them to death, but I mean, I didn't even get a call on Father's Day. I'm a damn good dad. And I was pissed off. I was like, I'm gonna kill you. What the fuck is going on? You know what I didn't do? Because you're alive? I know you didn't ask to be born, but I love you, man. You're gonna fucking call me, or I'm gonna fucking kick your ass. You know, 16-year-old Miles. But they love each other. They know what love is worth. I think because they didn't have shit. Because at times they were starving, or because they might get hung because of racism. They were together. They were together, and they had to be together. And what was so tragic about my mother and her losing her mind slowly and becoming so fragile is that she lost all of her brothers and sisters one by one. So there's this big empire, this big kingdom, and she was called Queen. Right? Queen, 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 queen. Now, she said they called her queen because when she was born, she was so damn ugly. It was a joke. But my mother was a beautiful woman, and I think that was just self-deprecating humor. But she's lost each brother and sister that she was so close with, and then now they're all gone. You know, Aunt Thelma, gone. Aunt Thelma drank beer from sunup to sundown. Mm-hmm. That was her thing. She was one of the ones that moved out to California. Now, she wasn't, you could kind of tell, she looked Mexican. She had long, straight hair, like Indian, long hair. But Uncle Jason, her husband, he worked for MGM, and he definitely passed. And it was a thing of survival. I mean, down south, if you read about St. Martinville and where St. Martin Parish, it's a rough town. They say if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. Fuck that. New York is easy. New York is fucking no problem. You got food. You can steal food from people. You know, you can rob people, and you know, you get away, and it's not hard. It's really not. Down in Lafayette, St. Martin Parish, it's fucking hard. I was teaching summer school at this place in Grand Coteau, and if you don't have a car, Grand Coteau is like this ice that kind of 30 minutes from Lafayette proper. These kids growing up there, if you don't have a car, you're fucked. There's no work, there's no nothing. You're just fucked. And so, you know, it's hard living down there. So the people that could get away, they did get away. And so my mom, you know, she slipped into this sort of, as she lost them one by one, I stopped going to funerals. I was like, I'm done with funerals. Fuck that. I'm not going to another one. I'm sorry. I went to my Aunt Helen's funeral because she was amazing. I think you might, I don't know. Amy really reminded me of my Aunt Helen because she collected. She used to collect. I don't know if you're still a collector.
I do like a lot of stuff.
You like the stuff. Good stuff though, not junk. I mean, good taste, exquisite taste. And I hope you guys don't mind me because the book you can find online. It's A Deed to My Bones. You search Unblurb, and it's free online. I wasn't able to bring some here, I sold out of books, but you can order them, and please buy some of these books here. Whatever's here, you should buy. But you can't buy my book. You can see it for free online, or you could buy it online. But I really think you guys should support this bookstore because it's beautiful, it's amazing. And the guys put out cheese and grapes. And, eat some before you leave. And Amy brought some energy bars. But the book is heavy. The poems are heavy. I talk about lynchings, and I talk about losing people, but then I put in some silly pictures. And so, like this. See? That's silly, right? That's a silly, it's me dressed up like a clown. And here I am, it's kind of risque. Half naked, totally naked, in a bathtub in Brooklyn, taking a bath. I'm sudsy, kind of, little soft core. You know what I'm saying? Single, ready to mingle, you know what I'm saying? I am going to read something out of this book, but what this book, my mom stopped talking to me a couple of years ago, and it broke me. It fucking broke my heart. I mean, she just stopped. And she did the same thing to my Aunt Helen when my Aunt Helen was dying. My Aunt Helen, she was one of the last to go of the relatives. And Aunt Helen was dying. And you have to understand, these two, they were so close. Every Sunday, either we would go to Aunt Helen's house in New Iberia, or Aunt Helen would come out to Grandbois around parks and visit us. I mean, this is for 20 years. This is back and forth every Sunday. You know, and then this beautiful magic event would happen when the blackberries would come out. I lived out in the country. You know, there's a highway, there's a house, then there's just fields and cows and stuff. So she would bring over her kids and to our property, and we'd go on the neighbor's property, Mr. Bijou, who lives next door now. Mr. and Mr. Bijou only spoke French. Old Louisiana couple, they only spoke this I don't know if it's Cajun or Creole, because there's a difference. And they could have been directly from France and not from Canada. But anyway, they which if they're directly from France, then they would be considered Creoles and not Cajuns. But anyway, so I still don't know to this day. But they let us pick berries on their properties. They let us hunt on their properties as long as we brought them some of the spoils. So we'd all get together, about 8 of us, and we'd carry buckets, 5-gallon buckets, and we'd go and walk the half mile to the fields and just pick berries, blackberries. And you'd see the greatest things. You'd see, like it was springtime, right? So you'd see water moccasins shedding, and dangerous. I saw water moccasins breeding once, which is magical, because they're in this pond. There was a pond back there, and they'll stand up, the 2 snakes, like this, like in the water. They're standing up like you imagine cobras to stand up, right? And then they're like doing this thing. and you know, but tall in the water, and they're doing a little dance. So you see that stuff. And you see rainbows. You know, you're out there with your family picking blackberries, and we pick, God, I mean, just tons of fucking blackberries, man. And we bring them home, and when we process them, we make wine, we make pies and tarts. My Aunt Helen owned a restaurant in New Iberia, so that she'd sell the stuff out of her restaurant, but that blackberry wine was amazing. And so they were so close, these sisters. And then my mom is also cold-blooded. So she just stopped talking to Aunt Helen. And Aunt Helen is begging to see my mother. Begging, calling me, calling everybody. I want to see Queen. I'm dying. But my mom didn't go to see her. She couldn't take it. And so my dad died at 39, like that, right? Heart attack. And so when I turned 39, my mom, she didn't talk to me. 6 months into it, I get a call. Hey, Bedna, they call it, she calls it. Bedna, your Uncle Jake died. I said, Mom, You calling me? Because I tried to call her, she wouldn't return my fucking calls. You know, I'm like, what the fuck? You know? So mom, what's wrong? I haven't talked to you in 6 months. Oh, baby, nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. Really? I didn't hear from you in 6 months. Then I didn't hear from her again. It was a couple because I'm 42 now. So I put this book out, and she got the book, and she calls me. And she is so thrilled with the book. Disappointed that I'm not the president. I'm not Barack Obama. Because he did it. You're old enough. But you're not. Yeah, exactly. Why haven't you?
You obviously don't have a Jewish mother.
Well, on grandma on my dad's side. But yeah, see, she called, and it kind of healed everything. Because I really was pissed. But I understood, but I was still hurt. And then I understood after getting that call. I'm not an old man yet, but I'm a man. And that's something you have to just take as a man, that it's not all about you. It's not always going to be about you. And, So this book, although I dedicated to the men in my life, because at the time, I was really pissed off at the women in my life. Like, if I'm going to show y'all, fuck y'all. It's dedicated to Britton Pierce and my brother and my sons. Kiss my black ass. Don't call me. Fuck you. No, but Mama called, and she really likes the book. And if I don't do anything else, which I plan on putting out some more books. I have presence. I really do. And I wouldn't fucking say that if I didn't mean it. Because I would be like, this is some fucked up people, y'all. Out. This is about Grome. This is about my grandmother. I slept upon the Hudson River tonight, aboard the Amarazi. She is an excellent ship. We sailed her up from Lafitte, Louisiana, to the Thousand Islands of New York State, living on the water, sleeping on the water for months now. Sometimes under stars, bathing in the cool blue light of the moon. A midnight moon shines on me as I write these words. Now down in Louisiana, in Bear Terrier Bayou, is all fog and mosquitoes and catfish. The Gulf of Mexico feels wide and empty, and it's blue. But it's filled with dolphins and sea turtles and whales. The St. John's River is full of manatee making love, and speckled trout and mystery. Those manatee make love in the summertime. I spend my free time night fishing with white cranes and mermaids in the St. John's River. The Chesapeake Bay is a fine place to set sail. They have salty oysters and blue crabs. And the Bayou Teche, muddy and rusty red, will always have my heart. It must have been the sun perch, orange and red, electric blue flashing colors, their tiny red eyes taking me in as I pulled them out of the muck and flung them one by one into my bucket until I had a dozen little fish. My little boy hands holding the slippery fish tightly, gently taking the hook out of their mouths. I learned lessons on the banks of that bayou, under oak trees draped with Spanish moss, my bare feet in red clay, my toes squish, squish in mud, my hands covered in scales, in fish blood. My grand-mère, my grandmother, opens the back door of our little house, so thrilled to take these fish from me. She'd say, "That's good, baby, that's good, baby. Save some fish for another day." In a few minutes, the smell that would come wafting out of that kitchen was unforgettable. She would transform these fish into sacraments of deliciousness. It must have been then that the bayou took me. When it first took ownership of me, the contract signed in blood and mud and memory, deep fried in cornmeal, served along with cornbread and watermelon. Oh, the Hudson River Valley is lovely and has its own charms. Ancient sturgeon swimming deep in its belly. But I belong to Louisiana. I belong to the Bayou Teche. Its current runs deep in my marrow. I have eaten its flesh, and it is this patch of earth that holds the deed to my bones. I'm gonna read a couple more. Did you see the sexy pic? It's up. Yeah, what I'm saying. Ladies, some ladies like it. Okay, this is a crazy one. I had a little dog when I was a kid named Trixie. When I was a boy, one hot summer afternoon, I went to my father's rabbit hutch. The smell of those rabbits, I'll never forget. I opened the cage and one slipped right out. The dog was after it quick. They ran so fast, it darted and zipped. The dog caught the rabbit right by the neck, and she looked up at me without an ounce of regret. I stood there wide-eyed and took a deep breath. What just happened? Where there was life, now there is death. The rabbit all limp laid out at my feet, the dog panting and looking at me. That was a trip. See that happen. All right. Let's do a couple more, and then I'm gonna let y'all go and enjoy your night.
Really enjoy it.
All right, well, let me find a good one. This is about the devil.
Oh,
All right, let's talk about the devil. At the crossroads, there's a great freedom to not belong to any place, to anyone. No one has any loyalty to me, nor I to them. To be alone is a fine thing. Renegade! The earth may own my bones. To dear sweet Satan, I have sold my soul. It was mine to sell. It was for the church to lust after. Soon it will all be forgotten. This is my bargain with the great deceiver. I am a great believer in nothing, in no thing, nothing. Making deals with the devil puts me in good company, I suppose. Another old broke black man shuffling at the crossroads under moonlight and stars, under hot summer sun and blue sky. Now he is a man. Now he is some kind of man. Now he got his guitar. Now he got something to sing about. And the choir of empty men sing my praises, sing about emptiness and freedom. But I don't stay. I don't sing. I just leave them suckers alone. They need each other. And I am not any man's brother. I'm just passing through. I have business to do. A body alone, a vessel holding nothing. What is there to hold? I done sold my soul. A body alone, thin skin and hollow bones. The marrow has been sucked clean out. The marrow is attached to the soul. The soul sleeps inside of a man's bones. A bonus for the devil. That devil, that old devil, he sits there licking his lips. He sits there eating his barbecue. He sits there picking his teeth. He sits there and he preaches to me. It is in the fine print of the unwritten contract. It is all in there. Every detail, every stipulation. It is all in the handshake. It is understood. When the hands shake, and their hands, they did shake, did they not? That's about Robert Johnson going down there, selling his soul, you know. Woo! Lucky I didn't do that shit. All right. Man, let's do one more. One more. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Talk about things. Oh, that's a good one. But I want to give you guys a great one, and then we'll get out of here. Yeah. So, while I'm looking, I'm going to talk. I've seen some crazy shit. And one thing I saw was really funny. You guys seen that thing on the internet where it's like Alice from Alice in Wonderland and then Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, and they're sitting together drinking tea, and then Alice says, "Man, I've seen some shit." They're just chatting together. One more, I'm gonna find it. It's a good one. Oh, here's one about my mom. My mom and I was always writing love letters to ladies. Watch out if I love you. It's gonna be something else. Because I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna love you. I was married for a long time. I married a beautiful woman. I don't know why it didn't work out. I'm still scratching my head about that. Youth, I think, But we have two beautiful sons together, and that's important. But this is about me as a child, 6 years old, with the neighbor girl. Now, her name was Marilyn Mouton, and she was she wasn't the first, actually. There was some others, but I was 6, and we were into heavy petting, the two of us. Now, she was 9, a bit older, and it was natural. It was natural and wonderful in the summertime, but this is what, this is about that. Pick me a switch. Mother, she chased me down through tall grass like an Olympian. The sound of mud and water splashing as we raced through the puddles in the yard. Crickets crunching under my feet. Fire ants crawling up my ankles. Frogs scurrying out of the way of this stampede. Dragonflies everywhere. Belt in her hand. Summer sun overhead. I fell to my knees. She preached in rhythm. To the beat of every smack. On my ass and on my back. Her sermon would be branded on me. Branded like the cattle grazing in the distance. What else was a young boy and a young girl supposed to do but explore each other tenderly on a warm summer afternoon, left alone, with so many acres to roam? We were not immune to the perfume of honeysuckle and sweet magnolia, feasting on dewberries, then blackberries, then figs, drinking lemonade under willow trees, flying kites in the breeze, laying on our backs, watching the magic of clouds sailing through the sky, those beautiful clouds, purple, white, pink, fluffy, shape-shifting clouds, purple, white, pink, fluffy. I see a dragon. She sees an angel. We fell in love. We felt it so deep. How could this be? We lacked the maturity to care. Nature steered our beings, and we were in Eden. All right, that's it. I'm going to leave this out for you guys to check out. And like I said, buy some books here because they've been so nice to us. And you can find this online. You can see it for free, or you can buy it. It's up to you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jim.
Everybody, can we get another round of applause? I don't know why his sweaty ass didn't take my hanky.
Yeah, well, I don't know where the heck he's been.
All right, well, I'm gonna take you to CVS and buy you some cocoa butter, because the elbows and toes are looking ashy.
Yeah, I've been traveling.
Everybody, thank you so much for coming out here and supporting local poets, local artists. It's a rarity, and I haven't been reading poetry for all my life, but I've been writing and I've been playing in bands and going out and showing some people that you support their art form is really a wonderful thing. And fortunately, we had two great people up here tonight.
3.
Fine, I'll take a C+. So you guys want to come up here for a second?
Sure.
So, me and these guys, we sacrifice a lot of our lives to spread art, love, and harmony. You can hold it if you want. But really, it's all about you all who come out and support us, because we spend most of the day staring at a typewriter or a blinking cursor, or that, and just trying to bring a little love to the world. So if any of you feel like hugging a stranger tonight, I would encourage you to do so. You can do it here, you can do it elsewhere. Just don't make it creepy. Thank you all very much.